HOCIjump, Enospace, by Edward Axont, Memoria Collegarum Antectorum, Latin, to the memory of former colleagues. It is not enough to be in the right place at the right time. You should also have an open mind at the right time. Paul urges, in the universe there are things that are known and things that are unknown, and in between there are doors. William Blake, he had opened the gates of infinity and now felt awe, even fear, for all that he had done. Arthur C. Clarke, there are no answers, only choices. Stanislaw Lem. Chapter 1. Special Room. Jeff leads Simon and Ray into the corridor from the elevator in the basement adjacent to the archive and server rooms, which were normally off limits to ordinary customers. They have entered the conference boardroom, where a couple of technicians were setting up something on their monitor controls at the left-hand side of the oval-shaped desk, with several executive chairs around it and a large screen on the front wall. Jeff asked his fellows to sit down and to put their standard HOCI 2.1 smart glasses on, while the technicians finally said their goodbyes and left the boardroom. The three men saw themselves now placed inside the Gene Seymour's office at the HOCI headquarters building. "Good evening, gentlemen." Gene welcomed the new entrants to this virtual meeting, which seemed so entirely authentic to Simon that he couldn't tell the difference whether it was real. "Nice to meet you," replied Simon. "I do remember seeing you at the Sir Richard's party. Indeed, I was there, and you might remember Ray's friend Oliver too. He will join us shortly with Sir Richard, as soon as they finish a few technical preparations from the Alpine Castle location, though. My understanding is that we all get connected to the orb entity. Is OE today somehow, or we have to train separately?" inquired Jeff. "Yes, but not in the same manner. We will be just observers, while Simon would undergo true initiation with the Enospace megastructure. Ray can join him, in principle, if need be at some point, but our turn will come fairly soon, I hope," explained Gene. "Hello, colleagues." Sir Richard entered the virtual room with Oliver by his side. After a choir of mutual greetings, Ray proceeded to elaborate what was about to happen. "The induced orb is behind that door next to you, Simon. Quite simply, as soon as you enter that door, your avatar will appear inside the subdomain of Enospace. Of course, that is only your avatar, with which you would identify your conscious mind and senses. When I will have entered that door myself, you can interact with my avatar also, but anyone who visited Enospace has a doppelganger residing there also. Think of him as your wiser twin brother, who is part of Enospace and can teach you really anything. My twin Yar is already there and would meet you on the inside. Yours, Nomis, will be created as you come in. As any actual twin, he's a totally different person from yourself, and I do hope you get along well. Is it simply the name spelled backwards? This word stands for a type of moth." Simon smiled capriciously. "It doesn't have to be. Of course you can choose any name, but the default names sound pretty cool, don't they? Perhaps, if you prefer Nimos, which is also name of a Greek island, that'd be fine. You can go into the special room now. No rules, no advice. Just be yourself and trust the orb. It is an unpredictable adventure for anyone, and my past experience is of no use for you. Are you quite ready?" Ray looked at him apprehensively. Simon nodded and got up rather unsteadily with some worry lines showing on his forehead. "Godspeed," said Sir Richard, and everyone else wished Ray good luck on this step into the unknown. Chapter 2. Planetary Terraforming. The graveness of the situation weighed heavily on Simon as he walked through the sliding door from a small dressing room, where he took off all his gadgets and earthly clothes and walked into an empty and featureless dark room. The door shut behind him right away as a soft, warm, dense, but breathable substance totally enveloped him, rapidly condensing and providing gentle suspension for his body. Simon fell asleep deeply inside this interfacial physiological liquid, like cloak, which allowed him to remain extremely comfortable and fully attended to all his physical needs for as long as necessary. His induced experience felt unlike any other dream he had ever experienced. Simon, or actually his avatar, as he well realized, was on a strange alien planet. Towering puce rock formations, sculpted by wind and weather, stood over an emerald valley. These unusual colors resulted from the high copper, chromium, and iron content in their composition. Great plains interwoven with glistening streams of water mixed with ammonia and formamide stretched as far as the eye could see. Jagged peaks dominated the horizon, their silhouettes softened by twilight's glow. The expansive, vibrant canopy of the sky stretched upward, starting with a deep, rich indigo at the zenith and gradually transitioning to a delicate pastel orange near the horizon. This captivating transformation was punctuated by wispy, translucent clouds, their edges adorned with the fading light of the distant sun. Prominently hovering in the sky, a colossal gas giant loomed, a mesmerizing sphere of swirling blues and whites. As twilight descended, brilliant stars began to emerge, their twinkling points of light forming constellations unfamiliar to human eyes. The air, consisting mainly of nitrogen and carbon dioxide, was filled with a profound sense of tranquility and awe, the kind that only an untouched, alien landscape can evoke. Simon was floating inside the orb, which hovered above the planet Ori. This celestial body was a satellite of the massive gaseous planet Tonua, situated in a distant star system orbiting Anvi. Within this system lay another HOCIjump planet, Villahario, completely enveloped by a world ocean teeming with advanced aquatic life forms. These beings, despite their remarkable technological achievements, had not yet mastered space travel, content to dwell within their deep water domain. Nimos shared these details with Simon in simple terms as they occupied the orb together. The entity appeared as an angelic youth clothed in a plain white tunica, though without wings. After all, what need were they when one could float freely and communicate telepathically within the confines of this extraordinary contraption? "Why are we here, brother?" Simon looked at his twin with a mixture of wonder and incredulity. "This is our first lesson on what we can accomplish within Enospace, I suppose. Here is our master Ephiraton." Nemo slightly bowed to a Socrates-like white, bearded elder who manifested just in front of them. Simon did incline his head ever slightly and stared at the teacher with an intense sense of curiosity. "Greetings, my esteemed disciples. I am the embodiment of wisdom of the orb in human form, and my mission is to impart our knowledge and the art of creation to you. Are we not merely observers and explorers of these worlds, or do we also actively participate in their progression and evolution, thereby interfering with the natural process?" These were the questions that emerged in Simon's mind and that of his companion. There are just too many possibilities, and pure randomness rarely yields anything truly advanced unless the primary conditions and interactions are meticulously adjusted according to the design principles. Then a self-developing hierarchy arises, and complexity is born out of simplicity underneath it. This evolution chart has different attractors, and we have the ability to guide our choices towards the desired ones. Amidst the boundless infinities of possibilities, something extraordinary emerges in countless variations and interplays. Every evolutionary design is unique, and many possess fascinating qualities. Mind-boggling. Can we ever predict the outcome of our design experiments, even with the wisdom of the orb? Nemos queried quite rightly. We can analyze statistical distributions and probabilities of leading scenarios and, if necessary, influence the dynamics at critical junctions in specific directions to achieve our objectives. Each orb serves as a connection node to a localized domain within this universe or others governed by distinct physical laws and constructions. Consequently, information can be shared beyond these domains, making the wisdom of the entire megastructure truly vast. So, what are we looking for in this remarkable world? Simon was getting excited. We already have a strange swimming creatures ecosystem in the planet ocean of Vilhario, but only bacteria so far on Eniori, while the atmosphere is gradually becoming oxygenated. Nemos already knew that. The tidal forces from Tonua generate intense seismic activity, leading to rapid mutations during this epoch. Unfortunately, the ensuing volcanic eruptions are rather vigorous, and the oscillations in the temperature regimes are considerable, producing violent sandstorms. Consequently, this world seems too unstable to sustain complex life, doesn't it? Simon eyed the deceptively idyllic landscape of Ori with skepticism, prompting Ephyreton to deliver a brief lecture on the matter. Significant fluctuations in the planet's obliquity trigger chaotic climate patterns, resulting in extreme seasonal variations and migrating ice caps. These dramatic environmental shifts restrict bacterial colonization and inhibit the development of thriving ecological habitats. Currently, primitive life forms exist within subsurface hydrothermal vents and across briny pools dotting the mineral-rich volcanic terrain. The scarcity of water, complex carbon compounds, and certain volatile substances limits metabolic diversity. The unstable axial tilt stems from the pronounced eccentricity of the orbit and the gravitational influence of Tonua's distant satellites. The tidal forces generated by Tonua's massive presence decelerate Enori's rotation, converting rotational energy into heat and gradually synchronizing its rotation period with its orbital cycle. In time, the Moon will maintain a fixed orientation toward the gas giant, mirroring the Earth-Moon relationship with the planet. A moderate orbital eccentricity proves beneficial, generating internal heat through tidal flexing of the planet's structure, which sustains surface oceans and significant geological activity, elements vital for habitability. Yet this warming mechanism presents a double-edged sword. Excessive heating risks creating a volatile environment, while the eccentric orbit leaves the planet more susceptible to celestial encounters. Ancient collisions with comets and asteroids from the distant Boon Cloud, residing on the fringes of the Anvi system, enriched Ori with essential ingredients for life, including its water supply. These same cosmic deliveries also seeded Vilharlo, where life first emerged before being transported to Ori via impact debris, guided by Tonua's gravitational influence. By precisely calculating the trajectory of a massive comet controllably ejected from the Boon Cloud, we intend to orchestrate its capture by Ori, transforming it into a new satellite we'll designate as Michia. This delicate astronomical choreography will unfold within a complex many-body system, utilizing Tonua's immense gravitational field. Through a series of sophisticated orbital maneuvers, the comet will gradually settle into a stable configuration with respect to the planet and the gas giant. After an extended period of transitional instability, this substantial moon would serve as a gravitational anchor, mitigating the chaotic variations in Ori's axial tilt, similar to the Earth-Moon relationship. This stabilization would regulate climate cycles, fostering ecosystem predictability and preventing extreme obliquity shifts that might otherwise trigger catastrophic ice ages or equatorial glaciation. Furthermore, Ori's orbit around Tonua would gradually circularize, as would Mitya's path around the planet, reducing potentially harmful tidal heating spikes. The resulting steady, gentler tidal forces would maintain crucial subsurface ocean circulation, creating a balanced system resistant to both freezing and overheating. The partial disintegration of the original comet during its orbital settlement would release additional compounds: ammonia, methane, water, and organic molecules, enriching Inaori's atmosphere and fertilizing ground. These new materials would enhance greenhouse warming and catalyze the emergence of novel metabolic pathways in the planet's developing biosphere. Over eons, this celestial dance would achieve perfect harmony, allowing sufficient time for natural evolution to progress toward increasingly sophisticated life forms. We can expect a phenomenon akin to the Cambrian explosion on Earth, which resulted in the diversification of most major animal groups. The ensuing burst of evolutionary activity would lead to the emergence of a wide range of body plans and ecological niches, resulting in competition for resources. This competition, in turn, can drive evolutionary innovations. As species adapt to various environments, the diversity of life forms continues to increase. Initially, the habitat expansion would unfold as stabilized climates enable bacterial mats to colonize previously inhospitable regions. Subsequently, biofilms would establish themselves in tidal pools, warmed by geothermal vents along coastal zones. Next, organisms resembling cyanobacteria would flourish within meltwater channels beneath translucent surface ice. Finally, aerobic microbes would proliferate in newly oxygenated layers, benefiting from both comet-delivered carbon dioxide and increasing photosynthetic activity. Meanwhile, the metabolic diversification would prove equally dramatic, as novel chemicals from the comet would drive evolutionary innovations, while the enriched ammonia content would give rise to complex nitrogen cycle ecosystems. The emergence of stable environments and plentiful resources would foster cooperative evolution. Intricate microbial communities would accumulate into reef-like structures, transforming local geochemistry, while bacteria would evolve sophisticated chemical signaling networks, laying crucial groundwork for multicellular life. Over extended periods, photosynthetic bacteria would thrive throughout surface waters, gradually oxygenating the atmosphere and establishing a protective ozone layer. Thus, the newly stabilized axial tilt would prevent catastrophic glaciation cycles, while the greenhouse gases inherited from the comet would maintain moderate climate conditions. Most significantly, Mitya's gravitational field would shield the planet by deflecting smaller celestial bodies, reducing potentially sterilizing impacts and enabling ecosystems to flourish undisturbed for countless millennia. How can we manage to nudge the comet from its boon cloud nursery into precisely the right trajectory, though? Simon pondered, contemplating how the controlled delivery could be accomplished. We intend to execute a special flyby with a rogue interstellar object, Ephiraton explained. It's an artificial gravitational anomaly, one of several interlopers we've created by generating rifts in space-time to mediate and fine-tune the Anvi's planetary configuration. But this peculiar construct, behaving similarly to a conventional black hole, is fashioned through Enospace engineering techniques that manipulate exotic matter in the extended infinite, dimensional Enospace. The non-linear phenomenon in our four-dimensional space-time, which is a brane sub-manifold of enveloping Enospace, manifests simply as the passage of a powerful focused gravitational wave, featuring a singular caustic at its peak. It will pull the comet off and, through a slingshot maneuver, guide it along the desired trajectory before heading away towards a massive galactic black hole, leaving harmless gravitational ripples in its wake